Hola, here are the notes for the interrogative lesson. These notes go in your interactive notebook. This page should go on page 82. Take a moment and pause the video so that you have time to highlight this page. I'll move it up for you so you can see the bottom. And then on this side of the page, I would suggest you highlight the interrogatives just to make it easier for you to see where they are in the sentence. Now, the lesson on interrogatives is going to be given in two parts. The first part of the lesson is going to just focus on the 12 interrogatives that there are in Spanish, explaining to you how they're used and what circumstances you know to use them in. There are several different ways you say what, and different ways you say who, and 3 different ways you say where. So that is what that focus will be on. Then the second part of the lesson is going to focus on the word order of how you form interrogatives. For the second part of that lesson, the practice part is going to be this page right here. So for the second part of the lesson, please make sure you have your interactive notebook so that you can use this and fill it out during the lesson. Okay, let's get started.
Hola, in this lesson you're going to learn about interrogatives, or as we call them in Spanish, los interrogativos. First, let's define what an interrogative is. Very simply, an interrogative is any word that forms a question, such as who, what, when, where, why, how much, how many, etc. The first thing I would like to do is look at these words individually because there are 12 interrogatives in Spanish and they can all be a little confusing if you don't know how to properly use them. So let's take a look at those right now.
In this part of the lesson, we're going to learn more about the interrogatives and the different kinds that there are. We're going to go over the pronunciation first and then look at each one of the interrogatives and talk about them individually. Notice that there are 3 different ways to say what, 3 different types of who, and then 3 different ways to say where. So we're going to first go over the pronunciation. Repitan. ¿Qué? ¿Cómo? ¿Cuál? ¿Cuáles? ¿Quién? ¿Quiénes? ¿De quién? ¿De quiénes? ¿Con quién? ¿Con quiénes? ¿Dónde? ¿A dónde? ¿De dónde? ¿Cuánto? ¿Cuánta? ¿Cuántos? ¿Cuántas? ¿Por qué? ¿Cuándo? Now let's first start by looking at the different ways to say what. Like I said, there are 3 ways: ¿qué, cómo, cuál, and cuáles. The confusion between these 3 is mostly just about either using ¿qué or cuál or cuáles. Como is pretty easy because most times it means how, but ¿qué and cuál, that can get a little confusing. So let's first start with talking about ¿qué? Like I said, ¿qué means what, and you're going to use this when asking someone to define or describe something. And a little clue that you should use ¿qué is that most times it is used right before nouns. On the contrary to that, the word cuál is not followed by nouns. So this, if you see a noun, then it's probably going to be ¿qué? For example, if someone says that they are going to give you a torta for lunch, you could ask, ¿qué es una torta? What is a torta? ¿Qué día es hoy? You are asking someone to define what day it is today. ¿Qué tiempo hace hoy? What is the weather like today? You are asking someone to describe the weather, therefore you're going to use ¿qué? Another way to know that you should use ¿qué is to remember that this is more of a broad kind of what, meaning that the answer you're going to get back from your question could be a variety of different kinds of answers. For example, if you see something and you don't know what it is, you can say, ¿qué es esto? You have no idea what it is. You've never seen it before. It could be anything. ¿Qué estás haciendo? You have no idea what the person's doing, and they could tell you anything. ¿Qué quieres comer? People like to eat a lot of different types of food. They could tell you Italian to Mexican to Chinese food or Japanese food or whatever kind of food. So you really don't know what they would want to eat. ¿Qué te gusta hacer? What do you like to do? They may be more of a sports minded kind of personality where they like to play football and soccer, baseball, those types of things. Or they may be more of an artsy type of person. They like to paint and sing and dance and enjoy going to the theater. So there's lots of varieties of answers that they could tell you. Another example might be ¿Qué bebe el gato? What does the cat drink? Or what is the cat drinking? Now, if your cat is like my cat, they could potentially drink really strange things if you leave juice and soda and other things such as coffee lying around unattended. But again, that might just be my cat. So again, you can remember that que is used before nouns and is more of a broad kind of what, where someone can give you any number of different kinds of answers. Okay, so now we have cuál or cuáles, which means which or what. You're going to use this when you want to ask someone to select, make a choice, identify, or name something. And a lot of times, this word is used more of which, but a lot of times in English we translate it as what. For example, ¿cuál te gusta más? Which do you like more? And you have some choices. ¿Cuál es tu nombre? What is your name? You don't know what their name is, but you know that they're going to give you a name. ¿Cuál es la clase más difícil? You know that they're going to give you a class. You're giving them choices for a number of classes to find out which one is their most difficult class. There is also a rule, like I said before, that cuál may never be followed by a noun. If that is the case, then you're going to use que. So if you wanted to ask, what food do you like most? You are not going to ask, ¿cuál comida te gusta más? You're going to ask, ¿qué comida te gusta más? And again, you could justify that by saying that que is the broad kind of what, and you don't know what kind of food they like most, so they could tell you anything. So if it is a noun, you're going to use que. If there is a noun there, then you are more than likely not going to use cuál. Also, there's cuál and cuáles because one's singular, one's plural, and you have to make it agree with the subject. Another way you can tell if you should use cuál or cuáles is that a lot of times this verb is used right before a conjugated form of ser, or the to be verb, the one that doesn't change very easily. For example, ¿cuál es tu libro favorito? Notice that they used es. ¿Cuáles son las clases interesantes? ¿Cuál es la deporte más fácil? ¿Cuál es la pizza más sabrosa? So a lot of times if you are going to use the verb ser right after an interrogative, most times it's going to end up being cuál or cuáles. Como, like I said before, most times means how and means what only when it's really translated. For example, you may have heard people say when they didn't hear somebody and they want them to repeat something, they say, ¿Cómo? What? Excuse me? I didn't quite catch that. This is the more polite way of asking what if you didn't hear somebody and you would like them to repeat it. People do use que, and it's okay to say que in some circumstances in some countries, but a lot of times people consider just saying que kind of rude. So I always go with being erring on the side of caution by just saying como, just so I don't offend anybody, and I am being more polite. So if you need to have something repeated, then say como. ¿Cómo eres tú? What are you like? That's how we translate it in English. However, what they're literally asking is how are you? Literally, what is your how is your personality? Artistic, sports-minded, etc. ¿Cómo se llama? Or ¿cómo te llamas? What is your name? But as we learned earlier in the year, you're really not asking what their name is. You are asking, how do you call yourself? So again, this is one of those examples where in English we translate como to what, but literally it's asking how. Now let's look at the 3 different kinds of who, ways to say who. ¿Quién y quiénes? ¿De quién de quiénes? ¿Con quién con quiénes? First, let's look at quién and quiénes. First of all, we can notice that there's a singular and plural way to say this word, so we're going to have to make it agree with the sentence. It does mean who or whom. And you're going to use this when you want to know who someone is or who a group of people are. For example, ¿Quién es la chica bonita? Who is the pretty girl? ¿Quiénes son los chicos ahí? Who are the boys over there? Notice that this one's singular because we're talking about one girl, and then this one is plural because we're talking about a group of boys. De quién and de quiénes means of who or of whom. You're going to use this to ask when you want to know who or whom an item belongs to. So this one shows possession. For example, ¿de quién es el libro? This sentence, there is a singular and plural way to say this interrogative as well. So we're going to make this one singular to agree with libro. And ¿de quiénes son las mochilas? Whose book bags are these? Talking about multiple book bags, therefore we're going to use the plural interrogative version, ¿de quiénes? ¿Con quién and con quiénes means with who or with whom. Also has a singular and plural version to it, and you're going to use this one when wanting to ask questions about with whom someone is going somewhere with or accompanying some place. So you know your friend is going somewhere with somebody and you would like to know who that person is or who that group of people are that they're going with. For example, ¿Con quién vas tú al cine? With whom are you going to the movies? That is a very proper way to ask that question. So really, we would say, who are you going to the movies with? And again, we know that it's probably just one person they're going to the movies with, so we're going to say ¿con quién? ¿Con quiénes van ustedes al parque? With whom are you going to the park? Or who are you going to the park with? And we know that they're going with a group of people, so therefore we're going to make that sentence, that question plural, or use the plural interrogative. Now there's also 3 different types of ways to say where. ¿Dónde? ¿A dónde? And ¿de dónde? ¿Dónde? You're going to use when you are asking for the location of a person, object, or place. For example, ¿Dónde estamos? Where are we? Maybe you've been on a long trip and you've taken the wrong turn and now you have no idea where you are. So you're going to ask that question. ¿Dónde está el baño? Where is the bathroom? Very important question. If you're in a foreign country, you don't know where the bathroom is, and you really need to know where one is. So, ¿dónde? Would be used in that circumstance. ¿Dónde están mis libros? Where are my books? You need them for a class, and you have misplaced them. ¿Dónde está el cine? Where is the movie theater? You're looking for a location. So, if you are looking for something you have misplaced, or for an object or a location, then you're going to use ¿dónde? ¿A dónde? Means to where, and you can remember it means that because literally if you take this word apart, a in Spanish means to, donde means where. You're going to use this to ask when wanting to know where a person is going to. So you know that they have to leave the current location they are at and go to another location. For example, ¿a dónde van ellos este fin de semana? Where are they going this weekend? Or, ¿a dónde vas después de las clases? Where are you going after classes? So you're going to use this to ask where someone is going to. ¿De dónde? Is from where, and you're going to use this when asking for an origin of something or someone. For example, ¿de dónde eres tú? Where are you from? Where were you born? Where do you originate from? ¿De dónde es tu familia? Where is your family from? And you can remember this interrogative because de literally means from and donde means where. So that's where we get from where. ¿Por qué? Why? You're going to use por qué when wanting to know the reason for something or for the reason that something has taken place. Porque, for example, ¿por qué caminas tú cada día? Why do you walk every day? ¿Por qué comes tú todos los tacos? Why do you eat all the tacos all the time? Other people want them. You always eat them. Why must you be such a pig? So you would like to know the answer to that question. ¿Cuándo? When? Or you're going to use this when wanting to know the answer to when something happened or has taken place or is going to take place. For example, ¿cuándo vas tú al concierto? When are you going to the concert? ¿Cuándo vamos nosotros a la playa? When are we going to the beach? And then we have cuánto, cuánta, cuántos, cuántas. This means how many or how much, depending on the context of the question. You're going to use this when wanting to know the quantity of something. For example, ¿cuántas chicas hay en la clase? How many girls are there in the class? ¿Cuántos bolígrafos tiene la profesora? How many pens does the teacher have? ¿Cuánto cuesta el vestido? How much is the dress? Now, there's a few other things that you need to know about these these four, actually, interrogatives. First of all, you need to know that these interrogatives not only have to agree in number, but they also have to agree with the gender of the subject of the interrogative. For example, if the subject are gatos, tengo dos gatos, you would ask ¿cuántos? ¿Cuántos gatos tienes? How many cats do you have? So it's agreeing plurally and also in a masculine form. Tengo un perro. I have one dog. ¿Cuánto? How many? So it would agree masculine, singular. Tengo una taza de limonada. I have a glass of lemonade, indicating singular, and taza is feminine, so cuánta. Hay 3 mesas en la clase. ¿Cuántas? Hay 3 mesas en la clase. ¿Cuántas? Agreeing feminine and plural. Another important thing you need to remember about this interrogative is that this interrogative normally breaks the normal pattern of interrogatives. The normal pattern of interrogatives, it is an upside down question mark, interrogative, verb, subject, and then whatever else you need to say in the sentence or the rest of the sentence. However, with this interrogative saying how much or how many, you're going to flip the verb in the subject. So it's going to end up being interrogative, subject, verb, rest of sentence. So it's actually the same word order as a declarative sentence. So just a sentence that is stating a fact. So if we wanted to ask how many desks are there in the class, we're going to say ¿cuántos pupitres hay en la clase? The common interrogative formula pattern would be ¿cuántos hay pupitres en la clase? Which sounds absurd, makes absolutely no sense in a Spanish sentence. So instead we say the interrogative, ¿cuántos? Subject, pupitres, verb hay, and the rest of the sentence en la clase. Y ahora vamos a practicar los interrogativos. Now what I want you to do is look at these 12 sentences, and you are going to fill in the blank with one of the interrogatives, and each one is going to be used one time, so you're going to end up using all 12 of the interrogatives that you just learned. The answer to the question that is in bold is going to help you determine which interrogative you need to use. So read the answer to the question carefully and use that to help you determine which interrogative you should fill the blank in with. Ok, ahora vamos a chequear las respuestas. Número 1. Should have been ¿cuántos lápices hay? How you should have known that is that the answer was hay 7 lápices. The word siete tells you how many. Okay, so in every one of these answers, I will underline and make bold the word that should have given an indication as to which interrogative you should have used. So in this case it should have been ¿cuántos? 2. ¿A dónde van ustedes? Vamos al cine. Al cine tells you that they're going to a location. 3. ¿Por qué hace ejercicio cada día? The answer was para mantener la salud, in order to maintain one's health or to maintain my health. So that was the reason why. Okay, número 4 should have been ¿cuál? 5, ¿de dónde? Because they answered that they were from Spain. Soy de España. 6, ¿quién es el chico? And the answer was mi hermano. The boy is my brother. 7, ¿qué come usted en la cena? The answer was pollo y papas. That's what they eat for dinner. ¿Dónde están mis papeles? Where are my papers? So you're looking for something that you have lost. Están allí al lado del pupitre, over there beside the desk. ¿De quiénes son los bolígrafos? Son los bolígrafos de Fernando. They are Fernando's pens. So that's who it belongs to. ¿Cuándo vas tú al centro comercial? Voy el sábado. I'm going on Saturday. So that tells you when. ¿Con quién van ustedes al cine? Vamos al cine contigo. I'm going to the movies with you. So that tells you with whom. ¿Cómo son ustedes? What are you all like? And the answer should have been a dead giveaway with somos muy deportistas. That's what their personality is like. And that is how you are able to tell the difference between the 12 Spanish interrogatives. Please bring any questions you have to class, and I'll be happy to talk to you further about that. Gracias. Hasta la próxima.